Imagine paying millions of naira for a piece of land, you know, and then fencing it, doing everything on that land, only to realize one day that the person who sold that land to you does not have the authority to sell it to you.
Okay, so what happens is that when it comes to real estate, it's necessary that we understand the power of the documents we always have. Sometimes it's not just about the money you paid, but also the document you receive. That is what confirms ownership. So I remember a story someone shared where um, a child literally carried his documents and started running. Literally, what the person started shouting was, "Give me my land, give me my land." All right. That is how much of documents protects what you've paid for. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's what we're going to have a conversation with on the document that confirms that your land is genuine.
Exactly. So today, some people, when they hear documents, maybe they just feel that it's just a receipt. It goes beyond that. Or sometimes they feel because of the word document and how it sounds, maybe it's bulky.
Yeah.
But what you'd find out here in Abuja, the documents you'd mostly hear about. You hear C of O, you hear R of O documents, you hear allocation letter is also part of the document you receive when you pay for land. You hear things like TDP, that technical deed plan, and you hear contract of sale, you hear deed of conveyance, you hear deed of assignment, and also a receipt. By the way, receipt is one of the first proof of ownership, yes, that you have. But when we talk about legal ownership, then we begin to mention things like the deed and also the certificate of occupancy. So in Abuja, we have the FCDA COO, we have the area council COO, likewise that of R of O, and also letter of intent. But today, our focus is not going to be about what a C of O is or what an R of O is. Today, we're just going to explain what these what you stand to gain when you have these documents, the importance, how they protect you as a landowner.
Okay, so the first point I'm going to be talking about is these documents she just listed. What it does for you is that it just, first thing is that it shows trace of ownership. So if we are saying now there's an issue with this land,
Yeah.
how do we trace it and bring it back to you?
Exactly.
So that is what this topic is talking about. So one of the biggest advantage of proper documentation when it comes to real estate is that when you do it well, you protect yourself. If you don't do it well, over a period of time, we're not saying that there will be issues coming up, right? But it means that if issues come up, you can't even vouch, you can't even trace the land to you, because right from the onset, you didn't do it, you didn't follow due diligence, you didn't collect your receipt, they didn't send any form of offer letter, there was no contract of sale, nothing showing that this property is related to you.
Yeah.
So for example, if a company is selling land, there should be documents. And this video is not supposed to make someone who is watching it say, "Oh, I collected this. This company did not give me this." Please understand that every company is different and unique.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are traces of things that anybody who is investing in land should get. So don't go and fight your company or the people you bought from if you didn't see these basic documents. For example, when it comes to deed of conveyance or deed of assignment here in Abuja, people ask for it, especially if they've not bought in Abuja, right? So we get to tell them that this is gotten when you have almost completed your house, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like literally, to anybody who had bought in any state, it doesn't literally make sense. And when I got to know about this reason, it's like so that people who don't just will not just buy properties and leave it.
Yeah.
So they encourage that every estate you buy from, you build. So it means that, oh, I want to live there, I want to use it, and you start building. And when you've completed, then the deed of assignment is now to your name, which shows that, okay, this is the rightful owner. Sometimes when people buy properties and also sell it, do you understand? We don't have to do multiple deed on that plot, right? That is what this advantage, I will say, gives to people. So
Okay, and I also like to add that for this type of documents, usually you're always able to trace back the transfer of ownership from the first owner to the next owner until it got to you. So that is why sometimes you would see that, when you go to buy land in a company, for instance, and they are showing you the document, you see that this company bought from
this.
so and so company, right? So for instance, Sila bought from Esther, something like that is written there. And if you go back to her, you'd see that she also bought from someone, right? So it is traceable. You know, like the land did not wake up and existed on its own, you can trace it. So it's very important that you look out for these in your documents that you're given, right? So the next one we're going to talk about is that your documents also help you define boundaries clearly. So this is the situation where you just, for instance, you hear people fighting over a plot of land, and then you go to that land and they wrote, they mounted, do not do whatever.
Trespass.
Exactly. And then they put it there. You just know that two people are fighting over this land. It could be even multiple persons fighting over that land. So for some documents, they help you define your boundaries exactly. So when you're fencing, you know what you're fencing, the parcel of land you're fencing, and you also know that you're not going to have issues with someone tomorrow. And for this type of documents, let's say if you have a 500 square meter plot size, or you have a 1,000 square meter plot size, you'd want to know where your 5,000 starts and ends, right? So these documents help you to do that. And it could be a survey plan or a technical deed plan, as in the case of Abuja. So what we refer to as survey plan in other states, in Abuja here, it is known as technical deed plan. And as a matter of fact, it is even more detailed. Right here in Abuja, you're going to go beyond knowing the boundaries of your land, beyond knowing the beaconing and the dimensions of the land. Here, it also states the layout, the zoning, the land use. It is very important. It is stated in that document. So when you have this kind of document, this is what it helps you, achieve. At the end of the day, you'd be able to tell when someone is encroaching. In fact, it helps prevent encroachment a lot of times. It helps, right? So these things are, part documentation that helps you establish your full ownership. And we've heard stories, so many stories of neighbors fighting over land boundaries. Some will go as far as taking their neighbors to court. By the way, at the end of the day, when you guys have resolved these things, people are going to be neighbors forever, except if you're not living in that house, right? So it helps to avoid unnecessary fights. Some cases, the both parties genuinely believe that this portion of land, boundary, is my own. The other person will say this boundary is my own. But when you know the coordinates of your land, because this document states, this boundary, this dimension, it is from this to this, it is from this distance to this distance. All of these could be avoided. So documentation removes assumptions and also bring clarity. Just so you know, we mentioned two particular documents that help you achieve this. That is the survey plan in case of other states, and then the technical deed plan in case of Abuja.
Oh, great. So if you are following us and you are watching us and you have any question regarding documents that guarantees plot of land full ownership, like you have this document and you believe strongly that this is mine, then you can ask us in the comment section. The third point I'm going to talk about is that when you get documents, it shows government recognition. When she started, she listed out all the documents that are available, right, that you should get. So the third thing, like I said, is that it shows government recognition. For me to explain this very well, most people, when you try to buy property in Abuja, pay attention how you buy. Pay attention the source through which you are buying your property.
Very
Because
important.
sometimes people go ahead, buy properties from communities or from title chiefs and all that. Eventually, the government comes and because of the power of the government, it supersedes that of the chieftaincies or the Igwes or the chiefs. And that's how most people have lost their hard-earned money. So because we sell only government-approved properties, it helps that there is knowing government-backed up land, all right? And most of the time, it comes as FTD, all right? So, and that is important because you want to invest in something that can stand the test of time. For example, if tomorrow the government says, oh, we need this property, meanwhile they allocated it to you, there will be a compensation. Why? Because it was the government that allocated that property. Sometimes it comes through in form of an estate or even an individual land. But the point is that when the government allocates a particular layout, estate, plots, as the case may be, and anything happens in the future, they would definitely compensate you. So these documents are a proof of government backing. So if you want to buy properties right, ensure that you get a property that can stand the test of time, like I previously said, and it shows that the land has gone through proper recognition process. So if you take the numbers on the allocation letter, on the COO, on the of government, you say, oh, I'm going to verify. And when you get into the system, they will show you the coordinates of that. Like she said, the TDP, the layout, the numbers, the points, the coordinates will be shown because it is government registered. So it's absolutely necessary that this is what you should do when you are looking to invest in Abuja. Okay, so price is important, but also as you pay for land, pay attention to legitimacy. What it means that something that can stand through the test of time. And when you do that, be rest assured that you bought an engineering property.
Amazing, amazing. And I believe that if you've followed us up until this moment, you're getting clarity on a few things and you're getting value as well. So the next point we're going to talk about is that this reduces the risk of fraud. Now, we'll go back to the first point, right? The first point which says that your documents help you show trace your ownership, right? And it is very important. The second one, it helps you define boundary clearly. Then the third one, which she just mentioned now, they show government recognition. And the last one I would like to talk about is that they help reduce fraud risks. Now, when they achieve the first three, this is the next one. So when it comes to documentation, a lot of people fall victim of scam, right, or fraud. And fraud thrives where documentation is weak. So imagine that you have proper documentation. When you bought a land and then you did your proper documentation, you original documents from your receipts with your names properly written on it, you bought from the right source, it will be difficult for someone want just scam you like that. There are situations, I think I heard of a story where this man had already paid for the land, gotten documents, and the person he bought the land from died years later, and then his brother now woke up one day and came and said land
belongs to my brother,
belongs to him, that his brother gave it to him, and he was bringing documents as well. So imagine if this client did not have proper documents, if he did not have the original document, as the case may be, he will end up losing the land, he will lose his money, he will lose the building as well. So this help you avoid these kind of situations, right? So if you understand what you have in your hands, you will keep it safe as well. You'll not even want to tell somebody one day that I lost my CO document, the original one. How do you want to explain that, right? So this just like we mentioned, you don't want to go through the stress of court cases, because sometimes people intentionally want to do you harm. They know they don't own that land, but they just want to do you harm intentionally and drag to the level where you have to appear in courts. Now, court cases also involve money. You're not going there for free, right? You're going to pay lawyers as well. You're going through mental stress. I'll say financial stress, sleepless nights. You don't have peace of mind simply because you bought land, but that's not the case. You should buy land and also have peace of mind. So most fraudulent transactions happen because people focus only on the location and the price, and sometimes ignore documentation. So there are some people that have bought land and then you're begging them literally, sir, come and collect your documents. Like you are safekeeping those documents inside your box with the key for them. And you're begging them to come and take their document. Just ensure that when you pay for land, follow up. Make sure that you've received your receipt, hard copy, soft copy. With the next documentation, if it is a contract of sale or allocation letter, ensure that you have a copy and it is the original copy. Just make sure that you've received all your documents and then keep them safe. Make sure you keep them safe. One advantage is if you want to transfer this land now to someone else, it will also be easy for you because you've properly documented everything from the beginning to the very end. So no document can replace due diligence, but proper documents significantly reduces your risks. Why? Because scammers may have stories, but genuine ownership has records. There's always proof.
Wow. So if you found value up to this point, please let us know in the comment section. And we believe strongly in educating people on how to buy safely here in Abuja because, like she said, a lot of scam happen. And I always think in my head, we should stop talking about it because we've talked so much about land scam here in Nigeria and Abuja. But I still believe that some people coming up will still buy property.
Exactly.
So we'll keep on educating people on how to buy and buy right. Right. Sometimes people will not come out and say, oh, I lost my money, because they can't even open their mouth because they did it the wrong way or they didn't follow the due process. So this video is for someone who is looking to buy safely here in Abuja. Things you have to adhere to. So here is the big warning, okay? So if the property is being sold without clear documentation, you are buying land. You are not buying land, okay? What you are buying is risk.
Yeah.
Let's say it's the way it is. The property is being sold without documentation. In fact, I've heard some people give only receipts.
How now?
How do you
receive only receipt
for land
and you are comfortable?
So this is why we are all constantly making these videos to educate people on how to buy safely. So if there's no proper documentation, you are buying risk. That's more land. Even that risk, if it doesn't come today, it will come out in the future. So the next point.
So at the end of the day, your documents do more than prove that you own the land, right? They protect your investment, they preserve your peace of mind, and make future transfer or resale easier, like we mentioned earlier. So don't just ask how much is the land. Don't talk about the price alone. Also ask what documents come and what documents will I receive after payment. I think we have some videos about this, enlightening you on the documents you should receive after payment. So ask questions, although it varies from company to company. Ask questions, right? Always ask questions.
So in conclusion, before paying for any property, ask questions and request documents, understand them and verify them. And this is where a property lawyer comes in, or a lawyer. So if you don't understand, someone can actually interpret for you. So you don't go and sign your life away.
Yes.
All right. So please, if you don't have time to sit down and read through the terms and conditions, somebody can actually help you do that through the lawyer or a property lawyer. Okay. So because you're not just buying land, you are securing your future. I mean, this is your hard-earned money, right? So if you want to invest in real estate, you have to do it right, so you don't threw your money to the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the end of our.
So remember, today we talked about what you should your property, your property documents, what it means, right?
Yes.
And what it helps you protect and how it helps you protect your investment. Again, I believe you got value, and if you did, kindly like, share, and also subscribe to this channel. And then if you have questions around these particular topics, you can always reach out to us. Check the description, you find our contact there. And again, if you want to invest in real estate right here in the city of Abuja, we are ready to guide you through the entire process. So till we come your way again, have a fantastic day. Bye for now.